Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's the Ruben Amorim presser. It's a match before the FA Cup. Manchester United, they of course will play Leicester in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Remember, Manchester United so far has been dominating the fixtures when featured against Leicester City. We have gone ahead and won the last two. As a matter of fact, it was 5-2, if you remember, in the FL Cup that we defeated Leicester City. And then it was in the Premier League in which we won 3-0. So at the moment, it's looking, what's that, 8-2 on aggregate. Manchester United are looking lovely and our favourites right now for this FA Cup final. I mean, this FA Cup fourth round, especially if you had remembered the last game that we played against Arsenal in the FA Cup. That game, I thought many would have predicted that Manchester United would have failed. Because Arsenal, as we all know, is in scintillating form right now. Yes, they didn't do so well yesterday against Newcastle. Newcastle absolutely whopped them. They couldn't do anything about the result yesterday. It was a defeat. Again, we see where coaches, because you understand the new style of play, we see where coaches are now still and they're adamant that playing out from the back is better than booting the ball upfield and losing possession to the opposition. But there are cases, in my opinion, where a goalkeeper has to be smart, even if your coach is implying that you play out from the back regardless. I don't know why goalkeepers still continue to play the football central of the field when they're playing from the back. I prefer if they play side to sides. And Manchester United have been caught guilty of this themselves with Andre Onana, who, let us not even talk about Andre Onana, because Andre Onana seemed to be a goalkeeper that you just never know. You thought for a minute he's getting better, and then he gives you error again. But then again, there are so many goalkeepers right across the Premier League, right across football right now, who are just giving up soft possession to the opposition and then conceding right after. So I thought that that's what happened with Chelsea, with Arsenal yesterday. That's how they got their defeat. They went down, and then Newcastle just completely overran them in the middle of the park, on the flanks. And Isak, let's not even talk about Isak. Isak is one of the best strikers right now in the Premier League. Newcastle are on a roll. But Manchester United will have to do it again against Leicester. And even though we have defeated them twice, it is not a guaranteed that we'll be third time lucky. There's no such thing in football as a sure winner, guaranteed win. Not with the form that Manchester United are currently in right now. Manchester United are terrible. When Manchester United play against the top teams, the Arsenals, the Liverpools, the Manchester City, we see a Manchester United team full of confidence and goals and organization. But then when we play Crystal Palace, we pick up 2-0. Mateta and co destroying us. What happened? Nottingham Forest. What happened? Why is it that we're not getting those victories against teams like those? It is a mentality thing. When it is big derby day time against rivals, we are ready. Oh, when it is Crystal Palace, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. So Manchester United have to, and the players, they have to now sort of develop the mentality that is serial to winning trophies and titles. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're up 5, you continue going. It doesn't matter. That is what you need players to understand. And it seems as if they're not understanding this. So I'm not saying that we're going to destroy Leicester in the fourth round of the FA Cup. I am sure Ruud van Nistelrooy is aware that Manchester United have players that can absolutely destroy his team. They have done it twice. But I'm sure he has a plan. I'm sure he has a plan. Now, it must be said, Leicester they have not done any business in this January transfer window. They have not done any business. I think they probably brought in only one player. But they're definitely strengthening. In the front line, Jamie Vardy is 39 now? So Jamie Vardy is really past his best. They're really struggling for goals. They're struggling for clean sheets as well. And they've just not been at the levels that I think could really worry this struggling Manchester United team. These two teams right now, in this FA Cup fourth round are two teams that are struggling for form and struggling for consistency. So this game could swing either way, easily. And as you already know, now we have to now think about the shuffle again. Ruben Amorim has been shuffling the squad from day one. I don't know which day we are now, but in 2025, Ruben Amorim is still trying to find he's still trying to find, as it appears to be, some form of cohesion among the players. And you have to also understand, yes, he's trying to prevent injuries. And he spoke about this in his press conference, which he did today. But he's trying to prevent injuries by doing frequent rotation of players. But the problem that he still will run into and is running into is the fact that there's no depth in the squad. There's no depth in the squad. Lissandro Martinez, let's look at the injuries right now, right? So Mason Mount is still out. Okay? John Evans, who's a defender, is still out. Right? Luke Shaw came back last week, was in training, but has now picked up a knock and is out. Again. Luke Shaw, people, is out. Again. I just wanted to emphasize that. Okay? Lindelof is back. But of course, we already understand that Lindelof is not one that Ruben Amorim is looking forward to as far as playing. Maguire is there. Lenuro is fit. But when you look at the numbers, apparently Ruben Amorim is trying to keep double defenders, meaning he wants to have at least, I think, 4 or 5 defenders at a time. Because remember now, we're playing a 3-4-3 formation, right? So it's taking up, you need 3 defenders, 3 central defenders in the back. There's a back 3, okay? So you need more defenders to provide coverage for the formation that you're using. You can see how easily this can take a toll on the legs of the players. And if you get an injury or 2, that completely destroy your plan. We saw what Ruben Amorim did against Crystal Palace. He opted to play Kobe Manu up front. It's tactical. Is it? Did it work? It didn't work. Wouldn't you say that Ruben Amorim is doing a bit too much now? What's the point of having Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee on the bench and you're playing Kobe Manu as a centre forward? I don't get it. And people might say, hey, listen, what do you know about football? I can tell you this much. I will never have 2 strikers. If I were in a position, I could never have 2 strikers. And I've watched the game for many decades and I've played it myself. I could never have 2 strikers on the bench that are fit. Though they may not be in form, how can you have them being in form, playing at top level, if you're not even playing them? It doesn't make any sense. So I would never have 2 strikers sitting on the bench. I don't think you'll ever see that from certain level of management. You have to play the hand that you have. It doesn't make sense. And so we fail, I believe, to capitalize on the Crystal Palace game for multiple reasons. It was a mistake from Ruben Amorim to have not played one of his strikers up front. I don't know why else would you be resting them? There were no reports of any injuries or anything like that. So you have 2 strikers. You must play one of them. One has to be better than the other. If both of them does not make one, then you need to get rid of them. You need to sell. And speaking of selling, Manchester United is having a difficult time offloading players right now. Hats off to them. Anthony have gone to Real Betis, and apparently I've watched the game. He looks pretty comfortable over there in Spain. Yeah, man. Already, Anthony seemed to be enjoying his football over there in Spain. He did a few stuff. It wasn't the one trick pony, cutting inside, taking a shot. He did that, but he had contributed a bit more to the Real Betis team, and I think he'll do well, and we wish him well. Okay. Now, who else left? Tariq Malacia, he also left. And for me, he's a player that I thought was never going to work. Okay, and I can see, though they are loans, I can see those players being permanently off the books of the Manchester United. See them being off the books. Okay, you have Marcus Rashford, who can't seem to be. Listen, they cannot journalists. They can't do without speaking about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is an academic graduate and has done, I would say, fairly well for Manchester United. But Ruben Amorim doesn't fancy the player for multiple reasons. He believes that the player training regime and his lifestyle off the pitch is of concern. And you saw where he tried desperately to get rid of Marcus Rashford, and it seemed to have materialized. Marcus Rashford is with Unai Emery in Aston Villa. He was asked about Marcus Rashford, and he said, listen, that is for Unai Emery to speak on. It's not for me. I have to focus on my players. Right now, we are at a point where we need to focus on the performance. We're struggling. It's a difficult period. He was asked about this. He was asked about whether he felt as though he was under pressure. And he said, listen, I completely understand what comes with the job. This is a difficult position right now that we're in, Manchester United. The players, and we have to keep together and find a way to rise above the difficult spell. He said he knew that when he took the job, that he would have to face a period such as this. He also said that, listen, in this moment right now, he said that we'll have to just find a way to perform and to get better. Trusting each other, trusting the process, all of these things was what Ruben Amorim had said when he was asked about if he feels as though he's coming under pressure. All right, let me tell you verbatimly what he said. Okay, he was asked about Marcus Rashford. This is what he said. He said, guys, in the summer, like we said before, we are fighting for our jobs until the summer. I am just focused on these games. Marcus is in Birmingham. Beg your pardon. Marcus Rashford is in Birmingham with Unai. So you can the questions to another coach. We are just focused on our players. That's what Ruben Amorim said when he was asked about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is a goner. This execution by Manchester United hierarchy and Ruben Amorim tells you that Marcus Rashford is very likely won't be coming back. I think he will perform in Aston Villa, in Birmingham, and I think Aston Villa will sign the player at the end. That's what I'm thinking. Did I look into whether it was a buy, a loan to buy deal? I didn't look into that, but I'm thinking that if he performs at a level that Unai Emery appreciates, then they'll buy the player. Unai Emery is a coach, in my opinion, that knows how to get the best out of any player. Steven Gerrard, while he was at Aston Villa in the early parts, did fairly well. But to the middle and the latter parts, he really fell off badly. Unai Emery came in and has gotten Aston Villa to be playing at extremely high levels. And they have been successfully doing so. Again, they're in the Champions League, Europa League, all of these things. So Unai Emery has the formula. Remember, Unai Emery was the same manager, was won, I think, 4 times in a row with Villarreal in the Europa League. So Unai Emery is no sponge. This coach is a solid coach, and I believe he'll get the best out of Marcus Rashford. But that's how Amorim had responded to the question when he was asked about Marcus Rashford. Now, listen, he was asked about scoring goals, because we all know that there's an issue, right, with Manchester United right now scoring goals. Ruben Amorim opting to put Kobe Manu up front as a striker. I don't understand that. I could never see that working. You would have to show me that on paper and show me it work, because I didn't see it on the field. So you must have it on paper. They say you have to create it in the mind, right? And then bring it to life, right? he was trying that. But it's not everything that you create in the mind, my friend, will come to life and make sense. 100%. So he's trying a bag of things right now at Manchester United, and he's saying that we need more time. I believe that Ruben Amorim have used that statement more times than I've blinked my eyes. Yes, man. Ruben Amorim keeps saying that, listen, I can see the vision. Can you see the vision? Do you trust the process? Do you believe in what we're trying to accomplish here at Manchester United? Remember, Man U have not done much business in this January transfer window. The argument is that they're devising a master plan come the summer. They might make a raid on the sporting club to get Yokerez, Quenda, and all of these players. In December and in January, Manchester United were being linked, and this is not a new thing. This has always been a thing of Manchester United Football Club. We have always been linked to players. Nuno Mendes, all of them. Left foot, right foot. We've always been linked to XYZ and PQRS. All of these things. But how many players have Manchester United actually brought in the January window? I told you. There were reports that said that Manchester United have no money to spend. And we saw that. What? Getting what? Drogo from Lecce. That's the best business we could have done? I know we got another player, but that's the best business we could have done. I know that the left wing back or the left back is a major issue right now because remember, Malacia has left the building. Luke Shaw is fighting for his life. And I said it before that if Luke Shaw's life had depended upon whether he stays fit from a professional perspective, he would have long been unalive. He just can't do it. So I think right now, as a firm recommendation to Manchester United, Luke Shaw, I'm sure, is on a salary. And we're not being heartless here. But Manchester United, I feel that, and I think they will do it, I think the best thing to do is to just forget about Luke Shaw. There's no need to terminate his contract. Okay? Manchester United Football Club is not in the same spirit as the fans. Yes, Ineos, Radcliffe has been ruthless as well. But as fans, we have to have some level of morals about us. We can't just be as ruthless as our minds leads us to be. Okay? But I'm saying this. Luke Shaw should be off the books come the summer. One way or another, there's no point in extending any contracts. He's not staying fit. And Mason Mount, I don't want you hiding anywhere because you also should be off the books, my friend. It is pointless to be paying you and you're not performing. You're not producing the results. I know you have a desire. Yes, Ruben Amorim says it. Yes, he sees that Mason Mount has shown what he's looking for in a player. Apparently, more than Marcus Rashford. But again, they can't keep fit. So what's the point of having them in the squad if they can't keep fit? So Luke Shaw should leave the building easily. Okay? So we have no left back. So they brought in Drogo. Okay? And they also will get Diego Leon come the summer when he turns 18. He will fly into Carrington and he'll become a Manchester United player. But if you notice, these are two young left back players. Ruben Amorim quite loved the young players. And it's easy why. Because a lot of the times they're less susceptible to injuries. Okay? And they're more receptive to the new way of coaching and all of these things. They're more open to the conversation and to what the managers want and to what the manager wants. So it's easy to see how Ruben Amorim or why Ruben Amorim has gone this route. Easy. But I'm saying, yes, we have a crisis at left back. Manchester United have a crisis all over the entire pitch. We have strikers who are not scoring any goals. Between Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, They're licking blanks almost every game. And Ruben Amorim, he's saying that Ahmad needs to score more goals and Bruno can do more. Okay? He was asked about the goal scoring situation that Manchester United are currently having. Okay? And this was what he said. He said, we have to find players to play in different positions. You can see the way we play. It's going to take time and not solve all the problems. We have many shots inside the box and catch one player. Pause. Wasn't this the same situation with Erik ten Hag before he was ultimately relieved of his duties? Erik ten Hag had the same issue with Manchester United and players. Erik ten Hag team had provided many opportunities for themselves. They just weren't able to score them once they got into scoring positions. So on the face of things, Manchester United might look at the moment to be a bit better at converting goals. Bruno Fernandes, Ahmad, Lisandro Martinez. And remember, Lisandro Martinez has given us 2 important goals a couple matches back. You remember them. Now, Lecce, as Ruben Amorim calls him, Lecce, the butcher, the viper, as I call him, based on the celebration that he did, I call him the viper. He's out again. So there's no goals coming from that side for sure. Somebody else would have to pick up the mantle. Okay? But this was the same issue Erik ten Hag had with the players. And now Ruben Amorim is citing the same. Let's continue. Ahmad can score more. This is what Ruben Amorim is saying. Ahmad can score more. Bruno can score more. Even Kobe Manu can score more playing in that position on the pitch. That position on the pitch. So we have to improve as a team. We have a little bit of time. Let's see in the end of the season. So you see what's happening. And I agree partially with what Ruben Amorim is saying, Ahmad can score more, definitely. Bruno Fernandes can score more goals, definitely. Kobe Manu definitely can score more goals. Because Kobe Manu have an eye for goal as well, Yeah, man. He has an eye for goal. But he's saying that he needs players in playing in multiple positions. I submit to you, Ruben Amorim, that what we need from you is to solidify your starting 11. Decide where you want certain players to play and play them there more consistently so that they can create that bond that is necessary. The rotation, you said is for injuries, but now what I'm seeing is that the rotation and playing players in different positions is also to gain flexibility so that I guess in a situational sort of situation you can, I just use situation as the situation. Listen, in a sort of way, players being able to play in multiple positions will mean that you have a well-rounded squad. So for any situation, it's easy for you to then make the adjustments. I see what you're saying and I see your intentions. But do you also not see that it is costing us valuable points in games? If I'm a player, example, if I'm Kobe Manu and Ruben Amorim is saying, today I'm playing you I'm playing you just behind the backs, just in front of the back 3, okay? So I'm playing you in a 6, all right? And I play that position well, I get the accolades, or what have you, and then next week you say, I'm playing you in a center forwards position. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to trick the player? No, you're going to say that, no, I'm trying to get the player to be more position adapted. I need him to be playing in multiple positions. It doesn't always work. If a winger, and this is the difficulty that he's having with Garnacho, because as you know, they tried to get rid of Garnacho, saying that they don't have a position for Garnacho. But that wasn't the case. It's not that they never had a position for Garnacho. Them trying to get rid of Garnacho for 50 million, which I thought, I'm happy that he didn't leave. Because to me, that is rubbish. That is rubbish. What do you mean you don't have a position for Garnacho? What do you mean you don't have a position for Garnacho? Garnacho is a left winger by trade, yes? So you're saying to me that Garnacho can't play an inside centre forward role? Just a bit off the wing, the left wing? He absolutely can. The boy has potential beyond what you see right now. It just takes time and nurturing. That's it. You'll have a star player in no time. So let me ask you a question. So with Barcelona, and that is why you see a team such as Barcelona will always flourish. Messi, Yamil Yamal. Look at that player. He's playing right wing for Barcelona. And at times, even right midfield. And at times, even right centre attacking midfield. Hansi Flick is getting the best out of this Barcelona team right now. Something which a couple managers have failed to do in previous times. Okay? A player like Yamal, if you were to take a player like Yamal and move him all over the pitch, you won't get the same level of quality. You won't. You won't. You have to allow the player to get familiar with the role that you want for him to play and play it more consistently. That is how it's done. It's not done by moving a player every 2 games all over the pitch, saying that you want him to play in this new position. Remember, Erik ten Hag, before he was sacked, we saw Erik ten Hag playing Mazouari, who was a right back. Ruben Amorim is playing him right now like a right wing back. Sometimes you even play him in a back 3 as a right centre back. Erik ten Hag had played Mazouari in a cam position. And I think many said that that was the moment that Erik ten Hag sacked himself. So, are we seeing the same thing with Ruben Amorim right now? I don't think so, because it's early days. Is it that he's losing his head, but he's still trying to remain cool? I hope he doesn't play Kobe Manu in a centre forward position when we play against Leicester. I hope he doesn't do that. I understand that Manchester United right now are struggling for goals. Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund have not been good enough. But he's also not playing them consistently enough. And when you keep moving players all over the park, this is what happens. There is no cohesion. There is no chemistry. Look at Newcastle. Eddie Howe is not changing the players and their positioning every 2 games, every 3 games. You really don't get results that way. As far as I'm concerned, what Ruben Amorim is trying to do is to put, as they say, right, a square peg in a round hole. Yeah, man, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to put a square peg in a round hole. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to put Kobe Manu, who's a square, up front as centre forward in a round hole, if you understand what I'm saying. That's what he's trying to do. It's not going to work. Let the player play where he plays best. I don't see nobody taking goalkeepers and putting them up forward to become strikers. Why? Because you already understand that the goalkeeper, being a goalkeeper, is a specialist position. So why can't you see the same for certain outfield players? I'm not saying that a left winger can't play on the right side. Though there are players who would absolutely struggle if you put them on the left side of the field. I've never seen Lionel Messi played a left wing position. I've never seen it. He roams, but I've never seen him play that part of the field. So we need to have players being specialists in their areas and sticking to that. If it is that Ruben Amorim right now suddenly have a difficulty with trusting his players, and this is what I'm seeing. He doesn't trust Rasmus Højlund. He doesn't trust Joshua Xerxes to be the main forwards. He doesn't trust them. So he's trying now to get Kobe Manu, 6 feet, whatever, to adapt to a striker's role or a centre forward role. It's not going to work. So I'm worried for this Manchester United team. I'm worried as to what will happen come the end of the season. Because remember, we're in 13th. And yes, it is very unlikely to see Manchester United being relegated. Very unlikely. You know, they have a team that is capable of staying up easily. Easily. It is whether or not the injuries will start to take their toll. And right now, think about it. We have to also be avoiding yellow cards accumulation. Red cards, yellow cards accumulation, injuries, all of these things. There's so much now that Ruben Amorim has to think about. It's ridiculous. But they have a plan apparently, and let's just see how that plan comes to fruition. So what we're looking at right now is the fact that we can only look at the games in front of us, right? Yeah, we can only look at the games in front of us. So it is Friday. It is Manchester United versus Leicester City. It's the fourth round of the FA Cup. As to how far Manchester United will get, I am not sure. Because again, remember, if we are playing, if we're taking part in multiple competitions, that will absolutely take its toll on the players as well. So, so for Ruben Amorim right now, the best thing that Ruben Amorim and Manchester United can do right now is to say, listen, the season itself, if we want to avoid relegation, we must focus on the Premier League, right? Yeah. So we beat Leicester, and then we see what happens from there. But to be tiptoeing in both competitions right now and in Europa League right now is not the best move. Not with such a thin squad. Manchester United is really thin. It's a thin squad right now. So I don't. It would be a better move to drop out of maybe one more of these competitions. It would save the players. I know I don't sound like, oh, you're not excited for man and win trophy. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we kill off ourselves and progress another 2 steps further into the FA Cup and another 2 steps further into the Europa League, and we lose 4 players in the process, what happened then? We're going to tank in the Premier League. These Premier League teams, they're not playing. They're not playing around. We barely got past Southampton. Okay? Bournemouth trashed us, are absolutely in form. Nottingham trashed us and are absolutely in form. You see Everton coming right now? You see the new manager bounce that Everton has gotten? From the old head himself? Eh? That Sir Alex Ferguson said was going to be his successor at Manchester United and would have gone on to do great things. Listen, the teams that we believe are weak teams right now, they're the same teams who are fighting also for survival. What does that mean? It means that when they play you, they're playing with a high level of intensity. A lot of these teams have a better squad right now. Aston Villa right now have a better squad. Everton, as bad as it may sound, Everton right now have a better squad than Manchester United. I know it's on our way. So, who are we really going to outplay in the Premier League? We can't stay in all of these competitions. It sounds good and it looks good and we get more money and all these things, but we can't stay in all these competitions. It is going to take an effect on the players. And we can see more injuries coming should we continue to do that. For you to stay in these competitions, you need depth, which Manchester United doesn't have. So if Ruben Amorim is smart, I'm not telling him what to do. And I wouldn't tell my players to, hey, flunk out of the FA Cup. Allow Leicester to beat you so that we can preserve and reserve what we have left. However, it is clear as to the potential risk that Manchester United could face should they continue to move forward in these competitions. It's a massive risk. And Ruben Amorim is not new to risk, but it's a massive risk. Okay? So the press conference, like I said, was pretty much around that. And then finally, this was the question that he was asked. Could the league position get worse? He was asked that. And this was what he said. He said, no. I think it's a moment that is hard to turn things around on just a few games. It's going to be like that. And listen, people, I'm reading it exactly as it is. So I'm not making an error with my English. This is how Ruben Amorim speaks. Remember, he's Portuguese. I think he has a relatively fair understanding and grasp of the English language. So I'm not making an error. I'm reading exactly. Okay? He said, really hard until the end of the season. We are taking that risk you talk about. We want a different thing in the team. Profiles in that area was my decision to do that. We are taking some risk, but is the way we want to proceed. We want to win some games. We have time to train because I'm always complaining, improve the players. I want certain type of players with a different profile, and we are changing right away. So that's what he's saying. That's what Ruben Amorim basically is saying. That listen, it's gonna be hard come the end of the season. It's gonna be hard until the end of the season. He knows that it's not gonna be easy, but he's saying that hey, listen, as you can see, we're focused on getting players in the left back position. That's what I want. That's what the club wants. They want for me to captain the ship, and this is how I see best. And this is what I'm doing. As you said, that's what he said. And he wants to improve the players. And he said that you can see that happening right away. There's a philosophy. It's easy. We see the style of play, we see the high intensity. We see exactly what Ruben Amorim wants to do. It's just that Ruben Amorim don't have the players capable of doing it. These players right now, they can't turn it up anymore. They can't turn it up anymore, I'm telling you. So coming the end of the season is going to be very interesting for me and for Manchester United. I can't wait to see what they actually do. I think they're going to do some big business come the summer. As you can see, Ineos is cutting costs right across the board. You have all kind of rules and regulation right now that will hinder these clubs from making big money buys. But they need to take a page or two out of Chelsea books and maybe Manchester City. Those teams have been really, they've done well in terms of avoiding the PSR rules and all of these things. You know, Chelsea, I think, is the perfect team to have done so thus far. Okay? And so let us see what happens comes the summer. Let us see what Manchester United does. But the entire park, the team itself, it needs a complete change. There are players there that just not good enough. We know Casemiro will leave. We know Eriksen will leave. Luke Shaw should leave. Lindelof should leave. Mason Mount should leave. So when you think about it, Manchester United will be left with nothing really. So they have to go big come summer. I can't see a summer where Manchester United doesn't go big. They have to. They have no choice. Or else I can tell you for sure that come the start of that season, they won't avoid the relegation. I think it would be impossible. Okay? So they have to do it come the summer. There's no other way. So Ruben Amorim said he knows what he's doing. Ineos, we have to trust him. Do I trust him? I trust him. I trust him because I'm seeing a style of play that I like. It's just I'm not seeing goals, and they've started games relatively slow. You know, at the beginning of the season they were really high pressed, but they seem as if they're burned out now come January. They seem as if they're burnt out, seem as if they're fatigued, seem as if they're very tired in games. You know, goalkeeping error still continues. And so the question still begs, is Andre Onana the goalkeeper to carry us forward? We wanted a ball playing goalkeeper with his feet. We bought one, presumably, but we're not getting that. He's still making errors. Manchester United is still conceding. So it's a complete shift and complete overhaul of the team that will need to occur. Yeah, man, completely. That's the only way we're going to see progress under this Manchester United club. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Can't wait now for Friday to see Manchester United play Leicester and to see if they can actually progress into the next round of the FA Cup. So people, you already know, we come to the end of the video. Okay? We done something to say. I have nothing else to say. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.